Morning, back again. I have to think what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday this morning, and I am excited to be joining somebody I would now class as a friend who I met when I was actually selling vintage clothes, and so was Laura. So today I'm going to be talking to Laura Carley Adams, who's a photographer, and I'm going to be talking to her about how she started and taking new steps into a new career, and certainly overcoming imposter syndrome. And she's so honest about her journey that I think she's really inspirational. And actually, she's somebody I've seen more of virtually through this lockdown process than I would have done normally. So good morning, Laura.
Morning. How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I was thinking about it this morning. We have actually seen more of each other in the last 6 months virtually than
Yeah.
we normally.
I think it's the same for everyone, though, isn't it? It's the way that the world's going.
Yeah. No, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
So, if anybody doesn't know you, how do you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as a photographer who is fairly new to the business, actually. I've only been photographing about 4 or 5 years. I'd say seriously, I set up my business probably a year and a half. And I started off shooting families and worked with lots of other creatives, which is something I really enjoy, working with yourself. And weddings. I recently got into weddings last year. So it's been a trying year this year, but it's actually, I think we've got to take the positives and think, well, this year we've been able to plan a little bit.
Yeah.
And which we never had. No, you don't really get time to sit and think, do you? So you just sort of, so that's been good. I'd say I'm a fully fledged photographer now, a natural light photographer.
Because when we first met, we were both selling vintage clothes, and I can't remember how many years ago. That's probably about 7 or 8 years ago, actually.
I remember the first time we met. No.
So how does it feel now to be doing? How did it feel to make that step to decide that you were going to change your career path? Did you know that you wanted to be a photographer for a while before leading up to it?
No, this is the thing. Some people are born and they always know what they want to do. I always knew I was going to be a nurse, or I was going to be a dog walker, or I was going to be whatever. I just had no idea. So I think I finished uni. I did geography and environmental studies, and I just assumed I was going to go into something to do with that. But because I went home, my dad was like, look, you've got 1 week to give me rent. I kind of just fell into sort of an office job, like an admin job. Didn't massively, love it. it gave me enough money to go out on the weekends, and I thought that's what a job was, something to endure, which what my mum did. She was the breadwinner, so it's something you just had to keep going at, even if you didn't like it. And then I sort of went away, travelled, worked in restaurants, came back and did that, and then picked up the office thing again. Worked in marketing, recruitment. Not my latest, it was years ago, but worked for a construction company as a buyer, and then went into a little bit of project management, but didn't last long at that. So it's always been, I've kind of been to and fro in between things and not really having any direction, and driving my family mad, who said, stay in a job, succeed, you'll climb up the ladder, that kind of thing. And I just realised it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't fulfilled at all. And it was really starting to, just make me depressed, actually. I didn't have any goals. And then I met my husband, and everything just changed, because Jim, as you know, is super creative.
Yeah.
And he just made me look at the world differently. He just made me think, you don't need to fit into anyone's sort of idea of what you need to be. You can just go out there and find what makes you happy. And luckily, he financially supported me, and then we had kids. But he always had a camera. He did a degree in graphic design. They did a module on photography. So he had an entry-level DSLR, and I didn't really pick it up. He always did the photography, but once we had Sonny, our first child, he went back to work, and then it was up to me to sort of, if we want nice photos, I'm going to have to take them. And then it just sort of led on from there. So I wouldn't say it was like I always knew I was going to be a photographer. I just picked up a camera, and even then I didn't instantly love it, because it is a tricky thing to get your head around. It takes a little bit of bravery just to keep going with it and going, all right, okay, what's my style, and all these questions. So yeah, it just sort of naturally fell into my lap.
And what was the kind of time, was there a tipping point where you thought, actually, this is going to have to go from a hobby to taking it seriously as a business?
Well, yeah, because I had friends. That's how it starts, I suppose. It's friends of friends is your client base. And then, you know, there's only so many freebies you can give out. And then you go, oh, I'm spending a lot of my time doing this. I have to make money from it. So that's how it happened, really.
And what I love about you, and I love your photography. We've done lots of shoots together, and they're always amazing. I really have to say, everybody has to go and check her photography out because it's fantastic. But I know, and you've been really honest about this, that you have really struggled at the beginning with imposter syndrome and owning what you're doing.
Yeah. I think a lot of my life I've kept things internalized, and it's done me no good whatsoever. I've never really dealt with anything. I've just kind of moved along. But with this, I don't know, I felt like for the first time in my life, even though I was working for myself, I felt supported in a community, like a creative community that I found on Instagram. And you feel open to talk about these things, and you realize it doesn't matter how high up you get or, you know, how successful you are. Everyone has these feelings of, you know, massive self-doubt.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm going to be found out. Someone's going to find out I'm a fraud and take it all away from me. But, you know, there's plenty of room for everybody. And I think you have to, when you're having those doubts, you have to just give yourself a new narrative, reprogram yourself. I'm feeling like this because I really care about it. What happened the last time you did something? It went well. Do you know? So you have to sort of give yourself a bit of a talking to and use people as inspiration around you, but stay in your own lane.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that stay in your own lane. Because I know when I first started modelling, I was constantly looking at other older models and even younger models and comparing myself to them. And you've got to just do your own thing. And yes, you can take inspiration and see what other people are doing, but you've got to just be true to yourself and stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane, sort of own what you're doing, and not everyone's going to like it or agree with you, but that's kind of good as well, because sometimes they might even be right, so that pushes you towards something that you might not have thought of. So I think, you know, being creative is sort of having that open mind, which I never used to have. It was like my way, and it's, you know, stay in your own lane, but be open to people's perspectives. Unless they're trolling you, and you just get rid of them completely.
Just block them. I've got a long block list.
delete.
Yeah. So have you completely got rid of that imposter syndrome?
No. I've always had it in everything that I've done. But I don't necessarily, see, I've kind of gone full circle with it. It's like a little companion, a little bit, like it scares. If I know I'm doing something right, usually it comes out and goes, you can't do it. But I know I'm going in the right direction. And there's nothing like sort of beating it, just going, no, doing it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love the fact that you have, from what you've said about previous jobs that haven't been very creative, and now you have unleash this massive creativity because you are so creative and you can see it just oozes out of you. How fulfilling and how rewarding has that been for you?
Oh, it sounds so cheesy, but it's been like the best, apart from my husband, obviously, it's been the best discovery of my entire life. And it's always something that's been in there.
Was it there at school?
No. Oh, sorry, my phone's talking.
All right.
Sorry, my phone's talking to me. No, it wasn't actually, because I was quite, at the beginning, I was quite academic. So it was very, I think you start off as a child and you use one side of your brain, which is kind of the feeling-based one, you know, kind of the fun side. And then as you get older, you turn to your rational side, might be your left side. And the one about, you know, you've got to organise your life. And you kind of forget the playful aspect of everything. So I think we're all born with it. I used to think creativity was, you know, I can't paint, I can't draw, I can't play a musical instrument, I'm tone deaf. So it's all these things that we think creativity is. And that's why I was like, well, I can't have a creative job. But I think once you realize that creativity is a mindset, and it's something that it's the world that you create around you, and seeing things in a new way and being curious and asking questions. For me, that's what I feel creativity is. That's that's how I can relate to it. And so, I might not play a musical instrument, but I'll try new things. I like change. That kind of thing, like ordering something new in a restaurant, or I don't know, taking a new walk home that you've not seen before. I think it's just pushing yourself a little bit and not accepting your habits.
And you've learned so much about yourself, haven't you? Since doing this, you've learned so much about yourself.
I think that's my photography skills, because when I first started, I just didn't really know what it was going to unleash. I didn't realize it was going to be a lifestyle. I thought it might just be a way of earning a little bit of extra cash. I didn't realize my relationships were going to improve with everybody. I didn't realize how much it would mean for my self-development in terms in taking a picture. And it's all to do, I feel, with that relationship with creativity.
And how do you stop? Because I know that there's been moments when you've been really scared before you've done something new. And I know that fear, when there are lots of women I talk to, fear is the one thing that holds so many people back from taking that next step and doing something. So how do you overcome those fears when you get to that point?
Oh, I'd love to say that I have some sort of strategy for coping with all of that, but every shoot I do I think there's only been a couple where I haven't felt sort of nervous, but I am a nervous person. I'm twitchy and full of energy, and but I think it's just acknowledging that it's okay to feel like that. I used to try and fight it off, but then after 2 or 3 minutes, like now doing this, it goes. It doesn't stay with you all the time. It's that fight or flight. And I think if you just don't freeze, if you can kind of just keep momentum going, that's what I just put one foot in front of the other.
And how do you feel? And how do you feel about, what's some of the best achievements that you've had so far in your photography? What are you most proud of?
Oh, wow. I think, we were in a magazine, weren't we? That was good. That was really good. I thought, to see your pictures in a magazine, it's very different.
We've got another one soon as well, front cover.
I know.
Can't wait for that to come out.
I suppose weddings, because I was quite I was new to it all, and I just threw myself in and I said, look, I'm doing it. And I remember just before I went, I thought I was going to throw up. I just thought, this is too much, because for me, weddings, you can't really take the picture again.
Yeah, it's such a responsibility.
And you don't realise, and you also want to put your stamp on it, but you also want to make it, make sure that the day captures not just your idea, what's Instagrammable. It's nothing to do with that. It's about capturing their day in your style, if you know what I mean, instead of the other way around. So I found that a really, really good challenge, and I'm a little bit upset that this year's kind of paused and we can pick it up next year, and that's cool. But I've really missed weddings, and I think that's been my biggest accomplishment of sort of, identifying that I'm going to do weddings, I'm going to do families, I'm going to be, work with creatives. I think I didn't want to put myself in a category. I might do that in a year or so when I'm further down the line and have more time and don't have to be with the kids all the time. It's a juggling act, and I think your business model and the sort of clients you want to take on just changes all the time.
And how do you describe your style of photography now?
It
has really evolved. I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I would say. I think a lot of photographers would say this, connection. It's so, it's sort of a moment, and I take the picture, but it is a moment. It's like an in-between moment that it's just the ordinary of how someone looks at one another, but you don't tend, historically, those aren't the kind of pictures that that have been taken. it's about, I like to create feelings in my picture. So if you look at a picture and it creates a certain feeling of nostalgia, like, I don't know what decade that was when that picture was taken. Oh, I feel like I can relate to something like that. Or that's how I feel about it.
Well, I think they're beautiful. I mean, how ambitious are you? Are you kind of just going with the flow of life, or do you plan for the future?
Oh no. I did, yesterday actually I shared it on Instagram. Is it an emagram? The test and you get a number back.
Oh no, tell me about that. Oh, I've not
the
done
emagram
that.
test. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, I'm a 7. So it's really good to do actually, because it's sort of it tells you a lot about yourself, and it was bang on. It was, fun loving, enthusiastic, can be easily distracted. I can sort of flit about everywhere and lose focus, which is totally me. And I'm always looking for the most fun in the situation that I can possibly get. I'm trying to kind of eke out as much life. So all these things were so true about me. So I think ambition grows with confidence.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting to find my confidence. And I'd say probably for the first time.
Yeah.
Even just coming on a podcast like this, I would never have done this in my 20s. I just never would have done it. I wouldn't have felt confident. I probably would have had a panic attack.
But how liberating is it to not have that fear and to be able to do stuff out of
Yeah,
comfort zone? I love it.
And you'll be able to relate. Well, everyone has, but it's just that journey of getting older, and I love it. And I just thought I'd be looking at all these, wrinkles, but luckily I'm not that vain. But I found it just incredibly. I feel content, and I think it shows in the work that I produce.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching you grow. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So how can people find you?
Oh, they can find me on my Instagram, Laura Carly Adams, or on my website, Laura Adams Photography.
Well, it's just been so lovely. It's been so lovely to talk to you again and see you, even though we just seen each other last week. It's been gorgeous, and
thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. What are you doing today with the kids?
Oh, I'm not sure. We're in the lockdown area, so I'm not sure yet. I don't think I can go to another park, but we'll see.
Well, it's not raining, so enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Have a wonderful day.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye.
So it was a pleasure talking to Laura, and I'm sure lots of you can relate to all those things that we talked about. I know I definitely have experienced that imposter syndrome and the fear of failure and the fear of taking those next steps. But when you can overcome them, so much more can be brought out of life. And it just opens up a new chapter. So I shall be back tomorrow with another guest, and I hope you have a lovely day.